All right, welcome back. We're here with Orlando Trevino. And again, as Katie just mentioned before the break, Orlando's no stranger to us here. He's actually an employee here at KGET, but as we have and continue to do here on the morning program, we like promoting local authors and people who do good. And Orlando, you are a local author. This is your second book. Tell us about this newest book and kind of what it's about. It's called Moving Forward.
Yeah, this is a story that I wrote many years ago that's always been pretty close to my heart because it follows a story of a group of friends that were very close in high school, but after graduation they started to drift apart, and then after the death of one of them they all come back together and they realize that they're not as close as they used to be, so they still want to get that friendship back. So it's a weekend filled of trying to figure out where the problems happened, what went wrong, and if they still even like each other.
And it's, as you were just kind of drawing an analogy to high school, where, you know, you go back to a reunion and you see people that you used to think that you were best friends with and maybe, you know, kind of become sort of estranged, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right. Because it's happened to me, it's happened to everyone else, and it was a big part of this story. Mm-hmm. And along with the death that draw everyone together, that was pretty much the biggest factor that made everyone realize that, you know, we're not as close as we used to be. What happened to us? And
people change over time, right? Is that kind of one of the themes of the book as well?
Yeah, definitely. This one doesn't have that big of a gap in between graduation and the incident, but it's still enough of time for them to realize that, you know, we're not exactly the people we used to be.
Mm-hmm. And this is your second book. Your first one was published, what, back in 2004, and that was called Unspoken Word?
Right.
And that was about?
That was a story of an actor living in Hollywood who was, you know, very successful, and one of his #1 fans ended up realizing he had a little kink in his armor, and that was his way into him, and it was just a story of trying to still be successful and trying to keep himself safe. And
so what's the process like here in terms of writing books? I mean, is there a lot of local authors here that kind of get together? Do you kind of communicate with each other, so to speak?
In some cases you do. Nowadays there's a lot of ways to do it, you know, either meetings face-to-face, Facebook, MySpace, whatever, but you draw from everyone and you just help each other out.
And try and get yourself out there. Russo's Books does a lot of these openings for local authors, and tell us about it. You're going to be there on Saturday, right? Yeah,
this Saturday from 1 to 3 at Russo's at the Marketplace. We've got plenty of copies of the book, and I'll be there signing and meeting people.
And asking questions, or people will be asking you questions, I'm sure, about the writing process, right?
Yep.
All right, 665-4686 for more information. Orlando, as always, thanks for coming in. We'll see you back here later this afternoon.
Sounds good.
Working. All right, good to have you in. We'll be right back after a quick break.